Hi everyone! So I hope you don't mind if I get my crazy on a little bit, but I have just watched the new season of Veronica Mars and I have a lot of feelings I need to get out. So I've been a fan of Veronica Mars since the show started. I don't think I initially watched it from the pilot. I was just flipping channels one night and came across this show. I'm like, hey, I'll check it out. So I think when I originally came into it was like mid-season 1. But since then, I do own them on DVD. So I have seen every single episode. So I've obviously got season 1, 2, 3, and then of course the movie. So I loved the show. I loved season 1, 2, and 3, and I was devastated when it was suddenly cancelled because I'm like, that's not a really appropriate ending. We don't really get the closure. And though season 3 did come with this little clip of what could have been season 4, where Veronica joins the FBI, it just wasn't enough because I just didn't see that massive jump happening. So when they announced that the movie was kind of happening and there's this Kickstarter fund, I'm like, that's pretty exciting. Like, we might actually get closure, and it's a good way to kind of tie up the loose ends and kind of see where everyone is, and maybe like a ship will work out. Because obviously Veronica during the show duration was with Duncan, Logan, Piz, Leo. So it really ended when she was kind of with no one. She was like still kind of with Piz, but she was obviously still into Logan, and there was this little what will happen if the show continues. So I feel like the movie brought that opportunity to kind of like wrap it up and kind of give everyone happy endings and just kind of like throwback nostalgia. And that's what the movie gave us. It did give us a lot of nostalgia because they were obviously going back to their high school reunion. We're seeing a lot of cameos by a lot of characters. And we're seeing the relationship of Veronica. So obviously in the movie she was with Piz, but then reunited with Logan. So when season 4 was announced, of course I was over the moon excited because I love Logan and Veronica together. They were my first ship before I even knew what it was. And I was super excited that season 4 was happening. I was super excited to see the show and what they could do with a show that is 15 years old. Like, most shows when they cancel, they don't get that chance to be revived, especially if they revived this far along. When I was watching this show, I was a teenager. I was 11, 12. Now as a 27-year-old, I am a very different person, and I expect Veronica to have grown with me and the show to adapt with me, but still be that show and character I admire. And this is why I'm a little deflated when it comes to season 4. Because Veronica is not really the character I admire anymore. The show didn't really have the charm that it once had. And it was very repetitive and still riding this nostalgia train, even though they kind of screwed over the fans a lot with what they gave us in the story. So, just to recap for those that may not remember much of what happened, but if you are going to watch the show, they are going to throw it back in your face multiple times. Season 4 is very, very repetitive. And every episode is based on kind of what already happened. So the very first episodes in season 4. Now season 4 is only 8 episodes long. And it's just very repetitive. The amount of times they remind you of Lily Kane's murder is ridiculous. Trust me, we know the episode. We know who it was. We know the big reveal. We know how she got murdered. It was all of season 1. We have season 1. This whole season is about Lily Kane's murder. So you have what happened to Lily. You have the fallout against Veronica and Keith. You have the sexual assault that happened to Veronica, and then the who did it against Lily, the who did it against Veronica. You already have all that. We don't need refreshing of Lily and the sexual assault case 15 years later. Like, that shouldn't be driving Veronica's motivation anymore. She got closure against the sexual assault. You'll never get over something like that. I understand. But she knew who did it. She got closure from it. She could try and move on from it. And just rehashing that and saying that you need to have this horrible thing happen to you to be a strong person. No, you don't. Veronica can be a strong-ass person 15 years later without rehashing old memories about something that happened by some absolute piece of shit beaver. Like, you don't need that. And then we don't need a reminder of Lily. All of us know that it was her best friend that murdered. That's how she got into the investigations. We know this. And even those who are coming into the show, they don't want to hear all about the previous seasons in this new season. They might be coming into this show refreshed because, hey, it is 15 years later. Like, we don't need the nostalgia train. Then, of course, we've got the love triangles, which are never going to end. It's what shows love to do. So season 1, you basically had the love triangle with Veronica, Logan, and Duncan. The whole thing in season 1 was odd with Veronica and Duncan because you thought they might have been siblings, but yeah, obviously for a fan that's watched it, you know that's not the case. And then, of course, there's a lot of family drama with the Eccles, especially when it's shown that Aaron is responsible for Lily. And that's when Logan and Veronica come so close together, and that's when their relationship starts to shine, because originally they hate each other, and then you have the flashbacks where they were friends but kind of tolerate each other, and then they slowly start helping each other and be there for each other because they connected over Lily, and they connect over basically their family drama of feeling like outsiders. So there is huge, huge character development for Logan, and it starts from season 1 and goes onwards. I was not expecting to get to season 4 and then have that character development just shoved out the window. I was not expecting that. And of course, you have Veronica's friends, Wallace and Weevil, that start from this. I will get to them soon, but I'm having major issues with them as well in season 4. So season 2, we bring nostalgia back to this one because they had to mention the bus crash, and that relates to Beaver, so we could bring up the sexual assault allegations against him and what he caused, and why we need to constantly reference him, because there's this murder group and they're acting like Erin was innocent and Beaver was innocent. Like, as fans, as the audience, we know they're not innocent. So why are you giving us this information? Why are you telling this information, Veronica? She knows they're not innocent. It adds nothing at all to the storyline, and it just takes away from what this season could have been by just throwing back to the other season to infuriate us. Because if I wanted to hear theories about Lily Kane's murder, about the bus crash, I would go and watch season 1 and 2 and hear those theories that were relevant at the time. And it's just frustrating because we know it. And then it just, season 2 was really taken over by relationship drama. And I didn't want this to happen again in season 4, but they forced that on us because they bring Leo back into this. I love Leo, and I love the actor who played him. Max is fantastic. But I did not want a love triangle 15 years later. They are grown-ups. Veronica and Logan have been together for 5 years. I was expecting them to already be married at this point, to already have like a solid foundation. I was not expecting Leo to waltz in and have Veronica go like, Leo. Like, that is not what I was expecting from this season. Like, I thought she was past butterfly feelings at another guy when she's obviously in love with Logan. The relationship drama was so heavy in season 2. You had Duncan and Meg, which obviously she was pregnant when the bus crash happened and she went into the coma, which caused issues between Veronica and Duncan because they got together by then. And then you had Leo thrown in, and then she was also kind of with Logan. And there was just a lot of hate and awkwardness in season 2, which then kind of got rehashed in this season because Logan was obviously getting jealous of Leo because Logan's just standing there and Veronica's gushing over Leo, and then they're like, oh, Piz is in the back room. Like, obviously it's a joke, but you can obviously see how that would affect Logan. Season 2, Duncan leaves, and you would think that we would have closure with Duncan, because basically Duncan goes off to Australia with his baby. The Kane family is mentioned again in season 3, but we got no real closure from the movie, and we got no real closure from season 4 about what happened to Duncan. So I was expecting, I don't know, them to acknowledge him after 15 years if they're going to bring up the Kane family that much. So like originally I'm like, oh my god, I'm sick of hearing about Lily Kane, the Kane family. But if you're going to do it, at least tell me this information. And then it's never really mentioned about him. It's kind of like they're acting as if he's the only child, like Lily was the only child. And that just kind of infuriated me. So season 2 obviously brought in Mac as a friend, but she doesn't return for this season. We only really saw her last time in the movie. Season 3 is more about rape. So this happened on the campus. The dean was murdered. So there was a lot of crime in season 3. This is where it got dark and gritty, and it took on more of a dark topic, which was showing that they were maturing and that she was leaving high school behind her. But then it returns to romantic drama with Veronica, Logan, and Piz. And obviously they focus back on the Kane family because somehow they are behind this secret organization. So this is season 3. We have some improvements with other characters because the focus isn't just on Veronica anymore. She's the main character, but Logan goes on to have his own relationship. Piz has this radio show and has his own focus. Wallace has his basketball, so he has his own focus. People are having more of a life other than just surrounding Veronica. So season 3 did pick up where other characters are concerned. And then this was kind of improved upon with the movie, because the movie had a lot of unnecessary cameos, but they basically did it for nostalgia reasons and to make the fans happy as the fans were funding the movie. So as Kristen Bell said herself, the movie was mainly for the fans because the fans funded it and they wanted to give everything to the fans. But this basically had Veronica reunite with Piz to give us Veronica and Piz. Even though they weren't together the whole time, they just reunited just before she was returning. And then they had her and Logan reunite. So they have Piz and Veronica break up over the phone. Her and Logan get together. Fantastic if your ship is love, which mine was. But is a really lazy way just to have, hey, here's Piz, but we don't want him anymore, so we're just having him dump her over the phone so she can be with Logan. Like, why not just have her single to begin with and like she's either friends with Piers or he's just knowing the picture. Like maybe he was still just friends with Wallace. And then of course we've got Wallace and Mac. They're still basically the same. Like they're still great friends with Veronica and they're doing their own career thing, but they still don't have their own family as of yet. But it was really good to see them and all of them reunited. The best thing about the movie is they corrected Weevil's character. He had major character development. He was married to this beautiful woman. He had a 3-year-old child. His life was improving. And he wasn't just a racial stereotype that Rob Thomas likes to throw on us. It was a massive improvement for Weevil. And Logan had massive character development. He obviously matured and went away into the Navy. He was in, I wouldn't say a stable relationship, but he obviously tried to move on from Veronica and obviously loved her, and that's why he was accused of murder, and that's why Veronica returns. So the story of why Veronica returns makes sense in the movie. It makes sense in regards to the characters, and the school reunion makes sense for nostalgia purposes. But the movie gave us everything that we wanted and more. It did a really, really good job. It even brought Leo into the movie. So there was just a lot. And it didn't need to throw back to Lily Kane. It did an introduction. So if you did know of Veronica Mars and you were just watching the movie, you didn't need all that backstory. And obviously they showed Veronica's career, that she was going to be a lawyer, and whether her future should be lawyer or Mars Investigations. So obviously she made the choice to stay with Mars Investigations, stay with Logan. And so coming into season 4, that's kind of where we're all expecting to pick up. And this is where it goes downhill. So season 4 strongly relies on nostalgia, as I've already said multiple times. The first few episodes, I can't remember the exact number. I'd probably have to rewatch it again. I really don't want to. They mention Lily Kane nonstop. They have this murder group where they have their own theories and they try and join Veronica into it just because of this pizza guy, because he was delivering pizza when this hotel blew up. And so all the things are connected, and the storyline is really predictable considering what happened. I don't want to give away who's responsible if you do plan on watching it, but it was really predictable at the time. I'm like, no, that's too stupid for it to actually be that. I was hoping they would go with something different, because in season 1, I never saw it being Aaron. I never saw it being Beaver. I just never saw those twists coming of who was responsible in every season. I didn't see who was responsible in the movie coming. Like, I rewatched the movie not long ago, and it still blows my mind that that's who was responsible, because I didn't see that coming. And it made sense. And this one does not make sense. They just obviously create this murder group just to have the nostalgia thrown back to create the storyline, because there's no storyline if they're not relying on nostalgia. There's this new character that they introduced, and while I can understand why they introduced her, because they're kind of bouncing her and Veronica off each other. Basically like, oh, this is what Veronica used to be like. And she could be the next Veronica Mars. So I get it as Veronica passing the torch. But she does this stupid lecture thing. She's like, if you have this information, go to the cops, tell the cops. I'm like, you didn't. Like, 15 years ago, you did not tell the cops. I'm like, are you just doing this so if kids are watching at home, they will go to the cops? Like, it didn't make sense with the story. It didn't make sense with Veronica as the character. So Veronica's character development was just nowhere to be seen. I just felt like I was watching teenage Veronica once again. The grown-up Veronica we saw in the movie was kind of non-existent. We saw Leo again, as I said. He was basically there just to create a love triangle. He was not there for any other reasons. Wallace was there just reduced to being a best friend. He is married with a kid, but we get no information about their family. It's just Wallace is friends with Logan now, which is fantastic. Logan's with the baby. It was so cute. But basically, Wallace, Veronica's best friend. Like, that's all his title really is. We don't get much more than that. There was no Mac in this one. There was no Piz. We basically... Logan is the one we get the most of, and Rob Thomas and Christian Bale really treated Jason bad in this one. From episode 1, Veronica is having a go at him over something she brought up, and then she gets annoyed because he doesn't react to it. Like, he obviously saw this reaction coming. So what is he meant to do? Is he meant to get angry at you knowing that that is what you were already going to react? Is he meant to be happy that he was right about your reaction? Like, Veronica is just... like, she's just lost her mind. It's like she wants Logan to be unhinged and angry because she even has a go at him. She's like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, you should be reacting. And he punches the wall and, like, that turns her on, and she wants to have this angry sex, which, like, as an audience member, I enjoyed watching it. But as a fan of Logan, I'm like, this is not Logan. Like, this is not who he is anymore. This is not who you wanted to date. This is not who you wanted to fall in love with. This is originally why you left him, and now you think it's okay. So, just the way Veronica, as a character, treated Logan and took away all his character development, and I really disliked it. I really disliked what they did to Logan. And then towards the end, we are getting this final moment, which I have been looking forward to. But leading up to it, they do this thing where you think, oh, Logan's backing out, and you like get angry and upset. Then it happens, and then this really bad thing happens. So, I am going to talk about spoilers soon, but I'm just being vague right now just so you can watch a bit and then skedaddle before I get into the spoiler heavy. So, we didn't even get to really enjoy that happy moment because it was filled with upset and anger, and the happy moment was like 20 seconds. So, I was just really disappointed with what they did to Logan. And above all, I was really disappointed with what they did to Weevil. In the movie, Weevil, as I said, is married with a kid. He is accused of attacking, forgot her name, Lily's mother, back at the Canes. He's accused of attacking her, and he goes back to kind of his bikey ways because he's like, oh, if you're going to stereotype me, that's who I'm going to be. And we come into this, and he's lost his wife, he's lost his kid, and he's just in this bikie gang again, and him and Veronica have nothing to do with each other. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, Rob Thomas, stop racial stereotyping everyone. Because in this, Weevil is just back to being a bikie bad guy, and the bad guys are a different race. Like, for the love of God, Rob, stop racial stereotyping everyone. I do not understand why they did this to Weevil. Weevil deserves so much better. Through all of the seasons, he's tried really, really hard to get his shit together. He finally does in the movie, and instantly it's thrown away. I'm just like, oh, it pisses me off that they did this to Weevil. So not only am I pissed with what they did to Logan, I am pissed with what they did to Weevil. They introduced a lot of new characters, and to be honest, a lot of those characters are very, very one-dimensional. I I love J.K. Simmons, but I just did not really enjoy his character. They bring back Dick's father, which he goes by Big Dick in this, and that drove me nuts because it was just so stupid. It was such a stupid nickname. And usually Veronica Mars is really smart when it comes to nicknames. It's really smart when it comes to dialogue, and this was just stupid. I still love Dick. He's over-the-top stupid character, and unfortunately they haven't done much with him, but he was still there for, I guess, humor purposes. I wish they'd done more with him, but it is what it is when it comes to Dick Casablancas, and I love Ryan's portrayal of him, but again, he's just Logan's best friend, and they don't really do much with him. So this is when I'm coming into very heavy spoilers, so warning right now. And 1, 2, 3. They killed Logan. What the fuck were they thinking? I love Logan, and I did not want this to happen to him. I was so happy that they created this character development for him. I was so happy at how far he has come from season 1. I was so happy for him and Veronica still being together, fixing their shit, because she's finally like, after everything that happened, after my stupid fantasy with Leo, which I'm glad nothing happened, after I almost thought I'd die, the only person I could think of was Logan. And I'm like, yes, finally. She's finally letting love into her life. She's finally letting herself care about someone other than just her father. She's finally like just opening up. Logan has opened up. Finally, like they can both develop together. They have that strong character development. They can still do crime, and she can still deal with her own personal issues, but they can do it together. We don't need some ridiculous over-the-top death for her to have this more tragic backstory that she needs to evolve from, and that's what they result to. Another stupid death. I'm so sick of everyone being allergic to happy endings. I love Endgame, but was it absolutely necessary for Tony Stark to die? Game of Thrones, was it absolutely necessary for Daenerys to have her character destroyed and murdered? Good Girls, was it absolutely necessary to shoot Rio? There is just so many movies and shows right now that are just allergic to happy endings. They're allergic to keeping their characters alive, and it's bullshit. Now, if the story made sense to have Logan die, I could accept that, but there is absolutely no reason whatsoever that they killed him. Veronica's meant to be this smart person, but she couldn't work out this riddle. There was 2 bombs, which the riddle didn't make sense to say there was 2 bombs. The whole season is leading up to Keith dying, which I did not want, but I could have accepted because it's what would have made sense. Keith has been her anchor, and if they needed a tragedy, if they needed something to uproot her and push her out into the world, Keith's death would make sense to do that. Logan's death didn't make sense. She left, she came back. She left, she came back. If Logan moved, she would move too. She stayed for Keith because it is Mars investigations that she stayed for. But then they just completely burp it that Matty is going to stay and take Veronica's role. Keith is suddenly in a relationship, so Veronica doesn't mind moving on because he's found this relationship that they don't bother to show us because they do a 1-year time skip. And, oh, Logan's dead. But we get no body, we get no gravestone, we get nothing. We don't get a goodbye. She goes to a therapist and goes, oh, he would want you to move on, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. And he leaves this voicemail to his therapist saying, oh, this is the reason I want to marry Veronica. Like, why didn't he say this reason to Veronica to her face at the vows? And I'm just so pissed with what they did to Logan. Like, I was already pissed because of Weevil's character development just gone, and then they just treat their relationship so badly throughout the whole season. They treat his character development so badly, and then they murder him. And We don't even get to see Veronica grieve. They do a 1 year time skip, which I'm sick of shows doing that as well. It's clear every time they do a time skip, they have no idea what story they were planning on doing. Julie Plec did it all the time for the Vampire Diaries and the originals when she ran out of ideas. Oh, let's do this time skip. Avengers did it. They, like, we're in the end game. Oh, goes 5 years in the future. Like, that's a really long end game. I told you I was going to rant. So not only did season 4 piss me off because it's basically a whole nostalgia fest. I'm like, if I wanted a nostalgia fest, like, look what I can just watch. I did not need to wait for 15 years to watch 8 episodes of you reminding me of these and killing one of my favorite characters and ruining my other favorite characters. I did not need that. And then I did not need Kristen Bell giving the fans a lecture on, this is what she said. She is talking in an interview and she's like, it's not what the fans want, but it's what they need. How do you know what we need? Like, real life is stressful enough. Real life is depressing enough. Just let us have one show where we get to root for the underdog, where we get to root for our favorite couple, where we get to root for people getting their lives together. Like, why can't we just have this kick-ass team, Logan going to save the world in the Navy and her father kicking ass? Like, why do we need our character to die? Why do we need her to have this tragedy backstory to go on and do great things? We don't need this. Veronica doesn't need this, and I'm so sick of actors and actresses and all that telling us what we need. Like, if you're going to shit on the fans, just say, hey, we're giving you this season, we know you're going to hate it, but we're just doing it anyway, suck shit. Because you can just tell that no one else is behind this. When she's giving this speech, Jason looks so incredibly upset. He just did his own interview where he was crying and that broke my heart. Ryan looks upset and everyone else looks super awkward. So you can tell like it was Christian and Rob that came up with this. I love Kristen Bell, but even though the show is called Veronica Mars, I don't want to just follow Veronica Mars. Not if her character is not developing. Not if she's going back to that teenage drama bullshit. And for a show that I was so very, very excited for, especially after 15 years, I am just so deeply disappointed. I am hoping that there's no other seasons because after this, I do not want to give more time to a show that just does not give a shit about their fans. Because, as she said, it's not the story that the fans want. So you clearly know that none of us are going to like it, but that's what you're giving us. When the fans paid for the movie, when the fans campaigned to bring the show back, you're just like, fuck you. So I'm really disappointed as a fan. Maybe if I didn't care about the show as much as I did to help with the campaign, I maybe would not care. Maybe if I didn't grow up rewatching the show over and over and over again, maybe I wouldn't care. Honestly, I probably shouldn't care about a show or movie this much, but it really bothered me with how they would treat one of their cast members, how they would treat one of their characters that's been there since the pilot, since day one. And I'm just really disappointed. I was disappointed in the season overall. I was disappointed in what they did to Weevil. I was disappointed in what they did to Logan. So if you haven't watched season 4, I recommend not watching it. You can just rewatch season 1, 2, 3, the movie. Save yourself some time. Or if you want to watch it up until the wedding and then turn it off because the last 10 minutes is complete and utter bullshit. Maybe I was hoping if they did announce another season, they can just do, oh, he's not really dead. He was just in a coma or something. But with Jason already doing the interview saying, oh, my character's definitely dead, I don't want it anymore. And This rant is almost 35 minutes long, and if you stuck out this with me, thank you so much. I just had to get this all off my chest. No one else I really know watches this show except one other friend, and he hasn't finished it yet. So I just had to lose my mind and get off my chest. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment below if you did like the season and what you liked about. Even comment what your favorite season already was, or whether you like Veronica with Piers, Leo, Duncan instead of Logan. I always preferred her with Logan. I thought they could grow together and change together, because that's what people do. You don't date someone to change them. You date someone to grow with them. And that's what I've always believed in, and that's what they were doing before Rob and Kristen ruined it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I know this is not our official review, it's more of a rant, but thank you.